All right, so Donald Trump's election was historic. He is only the second president to win non-consecutive terms after losing the White House. The other, Grover Cleveland.
To reclaim the presidency, President Trump accomplished something that some political pundits didn't expect that he could. He actually expanded his voter base.
Yeah, our chief investigative reporter Eric Flack has more on how he did it.
President Donald Trump's supporters celebrated his decisive win on election night at the Dirty Water Bar on H Street in Northeast. The victory driven in part by inroads Trump made with African-American voters.
There's so few places in D.C. where if you support former President Trump that you can just come out and show your face, I think, without shame. And that's kind of why I'm here tonight.
Data from the Associated Press showed Trump doubled his share of young black male voters in the 2024 election, the largest of the demographic shifts among Trump voters, with roughly 3 in 10 black men under the age of 45 voting to return Trump to the White House.
I think he talked about some of the issues that, even in particular in D.C., and what D.C. faces in terms of carjackings and crime throughout the city and its proximity to the White House. I think African Americans, like myself, have opened up their eyes.
Robert Simmons is a Trump supporter from D.C.
Of making investments in communities to give people options, African American options, other than committing crimes, trade, vocational training, sort of investments to rebuild infrastructure.
Jobs.
Jobs, yeah, jobs. That's
Chances at a better life.
Yes, that's right.
And these are something that you think the Democratic Party hasn't done a good enough job with?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of Band-Aid approaches towards this. Building jails and institutions are never the solution. You got to get at this systemic problem of what's happening in this country, and I think people are taking another look at what this incoming administration has to offer.
American University Associate Professor of Government Stephen Taylor downplayed Trump's gains among African Americans.
You're sitting here today saying Trump does not appeal to black voters.
When his opponent gets 77% of the black vote, that's not what I would call an appeal. It's probably greater than a 3-to-1 margin. So I don't know that he had an appeal. One thing I will say is that the black community is becoming more ethnically diverse, which means that you're having a large number of people who are not don't have their foundations in the United States. A large number of immigrants or the children of immigrants, and the same things that brought black people into the Democratic Party, which was a civil rights issue, does not resonate with people, with immigrants from Africa or the Caribbean. The continent where Trump enjoys the most popularity is Africa. So I will say that now when we talk about the black vote, it's not a monolithic vote, ethnically speaking, like it has been more so in the past.
Which means black people are going to be more open-minded to, hey, I'm not just going to be a Democrat just because I'm supposed to be a Democrat.
Well, yeah, if they're immigrants or the children of immigrants, that doesn't, the partisanship does not have to resonate with them as it does with those who were born here, who are multi-generational black Americans.
Trump also got slightly more votes among Latinos than in 2020. While Harris won more than half of Hispanic voters, that support was down from the roughly 6 in 10 Hispanic voters that Biden won, according to AP reports. The change in his support among Latinos also driven by men.
As far as why, those things did not offend me. When he said that people had to come here legally, when he said that people had to abide by rule of law.
Joanne Chase is the chair of the Republican Hispanic Assembly of Virginia.
When he said that a lot of the people that are coming across the border were killers and rapists and on and on and on, and people that were bringing drugs, that was true. It did not mean that there were not other individuals coming across the border looking for jobs. But the bottom line is they were doing it illegally. And a commander-in-chief, which is what a president of the United States is, number one responsibility is to protect this country from enemies from abroad and within. And in his speech, he expressed his interest in abiding by his main responsibility, which was to keep this country safe. What you see is what you get. And that's what he said. I'd rather have someone telling me, Joanne, I don't like you, rather than sneaky behind the back, hurting me. I can handle that. I can handle that.
Trump also made gains with women voters. Harris still had the advantage among women, winning 53 to 46, but that margin was narrower than Biden's, according to AP data.
Have you always been a Trump supporter?
I have not. He's grown on me.
Lindsey Queen is the Ward 1 chair for the D.C. Republican Party.
I've been able to engage with the community in Ward 1, Northwest D.C. and Columbia Heights, and I find that a lot more of the community is more engaged than they have been in the past. But I think that the Republican Party and President Trump has been able to really bring in those voters who are looking to come home with a good hard work pay that actually is more valuable.
The one thing that did not change in this election cycle, President Trump's core base. Slightly more than 8 in 10 Trump voters in this election were white. That's roughly in line with 4 years earlier.
I hate to racialize the election, but this stuff helps among white voters. When you start saying, making it seem like these people who have gotten too many favors the past 60 years aren't going to get these favors on me, that appeals to them. When you talk about we're going to build that wall, and that appeals to white voters.
Yeah, now President Trump won the popular vote by about 1.5%, or a little more than 2 million votes nationwide.